Ayeshinaye Smith, and this is the Smith Dominguez vlog.
Hi, I'm Alexia Dominguez.
Hi y'all, I'm Daisha.
Deja, who are you?
I don't know, the lead law clerk here at Smith Dominguez. I've been with them for almost a year, but it's coming to an end. I'm really sad, but I've enjoyed my time here and I've learned a lot and got a lot of hands-on experience.
It's Daisha's official last day today, and it's also her
last day of law school.
Yay! She graduates in 3 weeks.
May 7th.
Yes, that day. And we will be cheering for her from afar, and then we will have lunch and be happy. But yeah, so we're so proud of her and all of our law clerks, but Deja's been here the longest. So yay, Daisha. So today we just kind of want to talk about what we're going to be getting into. For me, it's kind of a light day, which I need because it's been very stressful the last 2 months, honestly. The cases and constantly being in court, the threats on me from opposing parties, it's been really rough. And you know, sometimes you just need a mental health day. I was going to stay home, but we got some things that Alexia's going to talk about in a second that we have going on, and I can't miss Deja's last day. So I came in and I'm trying to expand our estates section of the firm because I do love family law and I have a passion. Estates is just pulling me harder and harder, and it's really, really, really what I want to do more of, just to help people get their legacies planned and make sure that they stay intact. So I signed up for a program that runs like 10 weeks. It's like a 2-3 year program, but the training takes like 10 weeks. And because of all the craziness, I have been neglecting my studies. So I'm going to use this downtime today to focus on that until we have our pizza party.
And today I just had a client come in to sign in some documents. We're finalizing his matter, so he came in and it was really nice to see him. I am about to record a deed, and then I have a couple of closings I'm working on, so I'm going to do title work for that. And then later on in the afternoon, I'm going to transition to marketing stuff, generally handle most of the marketing matters, and we have a email newsletter, and this upcoming month is going to be about trademarking, so I'm just going to create like a outline of what I want to talk about in my article and stuff like that. And then we're going to have a pizza party today because of Daisha's last day. This afternoon we're going over to Raleigh,
I think it's
a statewide Spanish radio station, and we will be recording a commercial. So once we head over there, we'll bring you along so you can kind of check that out with us. Y'all, we're on our way downtown to file something and also to pick up some pizza for the pizza party for Daisha's last day. We just picked up the pizza. We got it from Benny's in downtown. If you're in Raleigh, you should really try it out.
Hi guys, so I just dropped off a civil proceeding in the Wake County Courthouse. And it was super easy. So they have these boxes right outside the clerk's office, and you can drop off the documents that you've prepared as long as you have all the other required documents, such as a return envelope and the money that's necessary. And so once I went through security, I just dropped it off in the box and then I walked right back out. It probably took less than 5 minutes.
Talk about the family law struggles. So over the past several weeks, we've both kind of decided that, you know, family law is really hard. We've seen it over, I guess, the 2 years almost that we've had our firm, but we've had some really difficult cases lately. For me, there's some hostile opposing parties, you know, just really dangerous and honestly crazy. And then for Alexia, this isn't really her first practice area that she chose. It's a little different from the rest, but we have clients like the ones Alexia have been working with lately.
Yeah, so I recently decided not to take on any more family law cases, but I still have, well, like today I had a client come in to sign some papers to finalize the process. So there are clients like him that make me want to keep doing family law because they're just really nice and they, you know, they need help and they're really appreciative of what we can do for them. And I've had other clients like that too, but for the most part, family law is not my biggest passion. But it's hard. It's hard to leave the good clients. But like Ayeshinaye was mentioning, there are a lot of bad situations that make you rethink whether family law is something you want to keep doing.
Yeah, and so I kind of talk about this with Alexia, our law clerks, my husband, my dad, about why, you know, I do have a passion for family law. It's something I always knew I wanted to do, but it seems like I have quite a few cases where they're just really difficult people on the other end. And, you know, you think about vetting people, but when you're going through the vetting process, you're vetting your client. You're not vetting the other side because either your client doesn't give you all the information or they may give you as much information as they know and that other side has a different side to them. And, you know, or, you know, whatever the situation could just really make things worse. So through this, I'm like, is this worth it? You know, it definitely helps our firm. It's a big part of what people know us for and what is helping to keep us, you know, successful. But at the same time, it does have an emotional toll. I'm usually a person really good about cutting off my emotions in certain places, which is one of the reasons I do family law and estate planning, because I know it's not going to really break me down like it can to others. But when you have other people on the other side actually making personal targets and threats against you, it really makes you want to rethink the whole thing. And so it can get disheartening at times.
Yeah, and I think Ayeshinaye took a CLE the other week, and they were talking, the attorneys there were talking about, you know, taking like self-defense courses and just being ready, you know, for things that do happen, either in the courtroom or just in general as being a part of cases.
And exactly a week later, someone tried to attack me after court for something, you know, they actually brought the case on themselves. They're the ones who made us be there. They were upset and they decided that they were going to take it out on me. Luckily, I wasn't physically harmed, but it does take a toll because I have to deal with this person until the court says I don't have to anymore. So it's really interesting. It can get very difficult at times, but I know that the children involved are in a better place right now, and I know that if I am involved, I'm helping to make sure that they're doing better, even though they're not my client, but my client is giving them the best that they need because they're getting support from us because we're attorneys and counselors. So I'm able to show them, hey, maybe you could be doing this better to help limit going to court. So we both like family law, but I don't like litigation, but I do the litigation at the firm. Ultimately, we want to do collaborative law, but we haven't practiced family law long enough because we're newer attorneys. So we have to put in our time before we can do that. But I think that this just shows more and more why collaborative law should be what people focus on and where they try to get. Because most of these issues, even when we go to court for a couple of my cases, the judges are like, why couldn't y'all work this out at home? And it looks bad on the attorney because the judge may think, well, you're the one here advocating for this person. Why didn't you tell them that they need to just work it out, or people didn't need to be petty? But a lot of times it's not necessarily your client. Some attorneys do take the case personally as if everything is about them. I am not that way. I keep it very separate until it becomes a personal issue. But you know, if you can work it out, I always try to tell people, try to work things out. It's going to be cheaper and easier to deal with. You know, even if it's not perfect for like what you really would want, if it's something that you can live with, then try to go there because you can always be cordial and then over time be able to get those changes when people see that you want to work with them. I think that with the people that Alexia's worked with lately who have been really great, they just really wanted to just be done with their situations and they weren't very fair. And I think that if you're coming from a place of not necessarily, oh, I'm hurt because this person did this or this happened. Family law is very personal. Of course, it's as personal as it can get. But when you realize that, this is going to have to get handled one way or other. Let me do what I can. That honestly, the bowls in the kitchen aren't that big of a deal. Why? I'm not going to fight over that. Or I have this extra house. We have 2 houses. Oh, I'll take one. She can take the other. She can pick which one she wants. We don't have to go through this. Oh, now we have to sell both and do all of this. And now we're going to argue over who put more money and more work in. When you can just really work things out. These are just examples and nothing specific. So no legal advice is being given. But just kind of giving you an idea of things that people can work on and work out before they get there. Also, this is why you need a prenup. If you're thinking about it, you don't have to have a lot of money to have one, but just go ahead and make those decisions early on what you want to do, because a lot of people get nervous. They think, oh, my spouse isn't going to want to marry me, or they think I'm just about money, when that's not really it. You're just trying to help protect both of you in the long run from whatever. I'm not saying the prenup says what's mine is mine and what's his is his. It could say, if we buy anything while we're together, which is the law, we'll split it. Or if we get this, we can do this. You can make it very detailed or as loose as you want it. But just have something so you know the ground rules if things don't work out. Which, of course, we all want them to work.
And you already have a prenup in the state law. So if you don't have something that you've put thought into, that you have decided together, like this is how we want to work it out if we don't work out, the state already has it for you. And do you really want the state to dictate how something so personal, something that you spend a lot of time, building, is going to wind down? Or do you want to have a say? You know yourself and your partner better than the state does.
And Alexia just hit the nail on the head, because it's just like that with estate planning. Okay, if you die and you don't make a will or a trust, the state has a estate plan, and it's called intestacy, and it can be very, very, very complicated. Or the people that you care about may not be the same people that the state thinks that you should care about. Or in the state's prenup is equitable distribution, and equitable doesn't mean equal. It just means what the court sees as fair. So, you just really want to make sure that when you're entering into relationships or having children, that you're really just thinking about, okay, I want the best. I'm happy right now. But if this doesn't work, is this who I want to be going through this against or with? There are people who come who are very amicable all the way through, because even if they didn't have a prenup or a custody arrangement before, they vetted the person that they're with. And so they know, well, they'll be easy to deal with. And we have that all the time. So that's just our little thoughts on how family law has been affecting us and the people that we work with lately.
I think you should talk about what we were talking about yesterday with the estate planning and the life insurance.
Oh, yeah. A lot of people, so as you see, obviously, Alexia and I, we're both women of color. I'm Black, Alexia is Hispanic. And a lot of our clients are as well, which we love. But at the same time, we have a hard time, conveying to our community that there is a need for estate planning and preparation, because there are two things that are true. People are going to die every day, and people are going to be born every day. That's why I do family law. And then for the death, I do estate planning and estates. I promise you, it's so much cheaper to do the estate planning than it is to have the estate and probate administration on the other end. A lot of people in minority communities, they focus on life insurance, which is excellent. You need it. I used to be a life insurance producer. Do it. If you get the life insurance, I can't pick out which one and tell you the best right now because I don't know you and I'm not licensed in that anymore. But life insurance is definitely a necessity. I wouldn't talk about it if I didn't have it. Alexia has it. Pretty much almost everyone that I know has it. But life insurance is just making sure that the money is there. You have to go a step further. For instance, someone, and it's not just one person, this is happening to multiple people that I know of. Family member passed away and they left over $500,000, close to, I think it was about $750,000 in life insurance policies to their spouse, which most people would do if they have their life insurance. Their first beneficiary is probably their spouse. But they didn't have a will because they didn't think they needed one. They assumed that their spouse would take care of things the way that they needed. Their property was all joint, so that's easy. The spouse does get to keep the property, but there were children from a prior relationship, and the spouse and the person who passed away, the decedent, they also had children during their relationship, and the spouse had a child from her first relationship. Well, she gets the $750,000. She's already grieving. You know, when you're grieving, you're going to try to cope in different ways that turn into shopping sprees, buying things. They had just gotten out of debt, paying off some debt, but then getting new debt as well. Within a year, all of the money was gone. And the person was retired and now has to go back to work. And, you know, I don't think that the person who passed away, that was the goal. And this is, once again, I'm just changing some of the facts, but that's not the person's goal. They thought that by having their spouse be the person to get the insurance, that the spouse would do the things they wanted. Well, in the long run, one of the children from the earlier relationship, who's the oldest child, actually, they got nothing when their father passed away. They got about $500 total, and that was from something separate. But the other children got a lot of things taken care of, just to kind of put it out there. But they got a lot of things taken care of for them, and I'm pretty sure that the person passed away, that's not what they wanted. They probably wanted it more equitable. Of course, have their spouse be taken care of, but also to kind of care for all the children equally. And that didn't happen. And to this day, it's caused a lot of turmoil in that family. Relationships are very strained. And it's not because money is everything. It's because that person got to see how it was used. And if you don't have a will, at the very least, telling you how you want things to go, a trust is preferred. But if you don't have something telling these people, this is how I want you to use the money and this is why, you know, where other people can see it, you know, just to make sure that there's some oversight. You don't know what people can do. And like I said, I don't think that the person these people have done these things maliciously. I think it's when you're grieving, this is what you're thinking about. And if people are coming to you asking for money and doing things and you see your bank account is big, this is what you're going to do. Not thinking about, oh, well, this person had a big emphasis in life on having no debt. This person had a big emphasis on giving back to certain groups. Well, you used all that money and really there's nothing to show for it a few years later, but within the time you spent the money. So those are the things that you really want to think about. So yes, having life insurance is great, but if you have no plan as to how it's supposed to be used, it's not going to help, especially if you have children. So you really have to think about that and think if you have a blended family or a non-nuclear family, or if you have people that you take care of outside of just you and your spouse and your children. So those are just some of the things, because that state default plan does not care about people who are not blood relatives unless they are adopted. So you have to really just think about the fact that you need a plan when you have anything, really.
I think that's super important, and thanks for talking about that, because sometimes we think, oh, I know I have someone who will know what I want done, but in moments of like grief or like, you know, processing, you know, what happened, you know, it's just better to have something written down and official for them to follow. You know, you don't want added stress on them or the family, with you thinking like, oh, I'm just going to leave them this and they'll know what to do. Sometimes people, you know, they don't actually know what you would want them to do, or it's easy to forget that in grief and processing.
Yeah, I think that that's probably the biggest thing. I don't think really in any situation when it's like that. I mean, there are some where people are just how they're going to be, but I don't think that that's what people are doing these things out of. I think it's just, okay, I have $500,000, I have $250,000, or I have $1 million. Oh, what am I supposed to do? The person who gave it to me isn't here to share it with. Mm-hmm. So I want to do something with other people to make other people happy, but you're not realizing that by helping some, you may be hurting others, and you may not be using it for the purpose, because that money may have paid everything for you for the rest of your life and left you something to give back to those other people. But because of the way you didn't have a plan or a guideline as to how to use it and spend it, this is what you're left with. You know, maybe you should have invested some of it. You know, life insurance is usually tax-free, almost always. So, you know, those are things, you just really got a lot of free money. And what did you do? So, you know, you just have to really think about that. And, you know, you can reach out to Smith Dominguez. I would be very happy to help you with making your plan. It's something very near and dear to my heart. So,
yeah. Is your legacy that way can go across generations. Like, let's say you have $1 million policy or even $500,000, you can instruct in your, you know, will or your trust, like, buy an investment property, and that could pass on to the next generation. And that way your legacy can really live on and help others beyond just your spouse or your immediate, you know, family. So.
No, and Alexia is right about that property part. Because when we were just kind of talking about this the other day, we were like, dag, with that much money back when these incidents happened, it was a few years ago, they could have, before the North Carolina market got the way it was, they probably could have bought 2 or 3 investment properties and still had money to do the other things that needed to be done. And those properties would have went to the loved ones and could have passed down and had that recurring wealth, you know, could have, you know, the person wouldn't have had to go back to work. So, you know, just things like that. You don't know how the market's going to be a few years from now, but I bet had they bought those properties and then decided, I don't want to rent anymore or do whatever, they could have sold them today at a nice profit. So, you know, that's just some of the things that you have to think about, you know. And this also matters when you're picking your beneficiaries for anything. You want to make sure that your beneficiaries or trustee or executor is someone who kind of has some sense about those things. You don't want to just pick my spouse or my sister or my brother just because they're your spouse, sister, or brother. You want someone who you know is going to be able to make good decisions. Because in the situations I'm thinking about personally that I've seen, they picked people that they loved, but those people are not good with dealing with grief. They're not good making those kind of decisions. You need someone who, it doesn't have to be a professional, because those people are going to come with fees. You should pick someone who knows you and understands you and your values and what you want. But at the same time, you want to make sure you have someone who has some kind of intelligence around what they're doing. So if you know someone who's good with investments, look at what they're doing. Are they successful? Are they doing good things? You know, they don't, that successful doesn't mean rich, but are they able to keep a job? Are they able to be organized? Are they able to manage their own personal finances? You don't want someone who's been through a couple of bankruptcies. You don't want someone who is drowning in debt. You want to make sure you have someone who's pretty stable or doing pretty well for themselves. Just because at least you know if these people care about themselves, they're likely going to be able to apply those same things that they've done in their personal or business, if they have businesses, and their business finances to your family and your legacies wealth. So, you know, you just want to make sure you're really thinking about that. You don't have to do it from the heart. You can use your head. Sometimes you can find someone who meets both of the criteria. So I just really, really think about that all the time. For instance, for me, I know my husband jokes about what he's going to do if I pass away, and what he'll do with the insurance money and what he'll do with everything else. But honestly, I know that he is not that investment guy and all that, but he knows who to find. He knows who to talk to. And that is just as important. Maybe that person himself doesn't know how to do things, but they know someone who can help. And I know that my husband knows who to reach out to. And if something happened to my husband, my dad would be the person. He has a friend who is an investor, and he has a extensive knowledge. I know he'd talk to him if he was given a whole lot of money for me, because that's just how he is. He knows what to do. So, and they know to reach out to Alexia, because Alexia's an attorney, and even if she doesn't do estates, she knows how to get the information, and that's just as important.
So yeah, that was just a small discussion of what did we talk about? Family law, and estate planning, and the importance of having a written plan.
But I think overall the theme is making sure that you're vetting the people around you. I think that's really been it, whether it's a potential client, if you're an attorney, whether it's the other side, or if you're getting into a relationship, the person that you're going to be with, or the person you have children with. And if you're someone thinking about the future and your legacy, picking the people who are going to be your fiduciaries and the people that act on your legacy's behalf. We just left Raleigh radio station in Raleigh. We just recorded our first radio commercial.
Yeah, and it was in Spanish. It's a statewide Spanish radio station, and it will start airing on Monday, April 19th. So if you are in North Carolina and you want to check out 101.1 FM, you might catch us on the radio. So after Ayeshinaye and I ended filming with Raleigh for our commercial, we stayed a little bit to talk about logistics and stuff going on with the firm, stuff coming up, and then we decided to each come home and to do some work from here. So that's where we're ending today's vlog. If you have any questions or want to see anything in particular, let us know in the comments below. And otherwise, we'll catch you in the next vlog.